Alright, so I said I'd do a video on making an RC drift car. So this is the RC drift car I made. My son's just crashed it. This is post-testing and taking half the paint off. The paint is shocking. Heaven knows what I've done here, but I bought just a Sora shell off eBay. It was probably cheap, too thin. And Tamiya paint, look how much it's cracking up. It's awful. Anyway, hey ho, bits of fun. So I tried to paint it up to look like the big Sora, and then what I've done is use lots of other things to make myself a chassis. Okay, so this is a chassis I built. I drew it out in 2D design software and laser cut myself a plywood chassis, which actually seems to work quite well, and then an upper plywood chassis as well to try and give it some strength at the ends, which is not too bad. The rear end of it is from a Tamiya TO1, I think, or a TO2. The parts there for the rear suspension, it does have rear suspension, it does work. And the front end is centre diff from a TO1 or TO2, but these arms, the steering arms here, are made up from Marde Meteor. So that was from when I was a kid and had a Marde Meteor. So they're made up out of that. I couldn't get any suspension to fit, so I've literally locked out the front suspension, so there is no front suspension, but who cares. The centre diff again is Marde Meteor, an old motor I found, an old speed controller I found, an old transmitter, etc, etc. Okay, so then under this underside here you can see I had to braze a rear shaft together. I managed to buy a new front shaft. I'm going to buy another pair of front shafts. I'll show you why in a moment. And then the steering part there, that's all Marde Meteor, and I've just had to move that. So anyway, here's a few videos about the build and what we just did to get it working, and some clips of it working. I've still got some more things to do. Basically, we tried to mod these front drive shafts. I need longer front drive shafts. They are locking out as it comes right on lock. It pops out here and gets stuck on the wheel. So if I change that to change the front drive shafts, it'll work a lot better. So front drive shafts needed. I'll order some of them today. And yeah, here's some video of how we got it working and some video of it running. Enjoy.
A bit loose. Who thinks those are going to fall out of there? Oh, it's going to be so close to falling out. Give me just enough movement to let it out. Yes. So I think these front drive shafts are going to be slightly too short by probably about 3mm, which is really annoying. I could order some more. I've just TIG welded together two bolts so I can get this on here to lengthen this shaft, because the way I built this chassis up using the Marde steering arm, the rod there needs to be really long, and including a tiny weeny bit of toe out. Not my way. God, this servo is rubbish. Tiny little bit of toe out. It's a bit too long at the minute, but I've got to get this on, and then I'll cut it down to length. So, progress is progress. Whoa. Way more lock left than I am right. guess I adjust that by making it pull it more. So I want to move that way. I think my crystals have seen better days. What do you call it? A tingamy thing?
A tingamy thing, yeah, that's what I call it.
That's exactly what it is. It's a tingamy thing.
It's not serious.
It's got
Do you want me to open this for you?
What we need to do is just put on. Oh no, look at this cable management. We're really good with our cables. Look how neat and tidy they are.
How do you even cut this?
What even happened with this? What are you cutting?
You can't even open it. You can
That's
just hold it.
pliers, darling.
You just hold it.
Yeah, they're for grabbing things. Look at that, super tidy. Right, let's do
A
this.
bit like
Flat out. Okay, so really frustratingly, it works, but that steering bar there is just slightly too short, which means they keep popping out and locking out the steering. So I think I'm gonna have to take them out, put it in two-wheel drive, which will probably be really hard, but it might actually work. So I'm gonna give that a go.
King of bodges here. To make these drive shafts ever so slightly longer, if we put the weeniest of nuts in the diff, it just pushes that forward by a mil or so and stops that from falling out. That, plus I've moved that steering arm there over this way by 10 mil, and hopefully that is just enough to make it work.